All right, Maddie, we're first off. Congratulations on a great race at Willard. Third overall from what I can see on live timing, and maybe win the second run. Haven't seen full results yet, so I hope those are accurate. But obviously you were skiing well, but the really good news is if you clean up some stuff and change some of your skiing, it can get a whole lot better. Let's first watch this. Making some GS turns in regular motion, then we'll slow it down. Okay, so a lot of this is interrelated, interconnected. The major thing we have to change is how we put our skis up on edge. You are very much a hippie, so you are using pretty much all hip and what I call, dumping it into the turn. So you're kind of dumping your hip. We need to start learning how to use our ankles and knees first, rolling them both up on edge, and then moving the hip inside the turn when your speeds require it. So here you come across and just sort of dump the hip in there to the inside because your inside ski is not as rolled up as the outside one. It's kind of under you. The only way to really get the outside ski up on edge by dumping the hip in is actually by having excessive counter rotation, which you do. So you really can't pressure the outside ski well with that much counter and that much hip, and you certainly can't absorb terrain. If you went over a bump right now, you would have to uncounter that and be facing down the hill to kind of regain your balance. So you're not in a balanced position. You're not in a strong position to really pressure the outside ski. And the last thing is clearly, your arms. We've talked about this, but you're not going to move them forward right here because then they would be like going this way while you're trying to turn this way. So that keeping your arms back is a function of how you are so countered. So that's sort of the last thing we got to worry about. I mean, obviously here we, leaning into, but that's really not the point of this. So first off, how do we stop this? Well, we have to have also less up and down motion. You're kind of popping. You pop up, you stand way too tall, too much up on weighting, and you just dump the hip in to the turn. And you will see that obviously the outside ski is certainly more up on edge. We need to get matching edge angles of both skis. We need to, until you get that inside ski rolled up, we can't properly move the hip in. We just kind of dump it down, and then you're going to obviously you can see where you're facing. You're facing this way when you're trying to turn that way. Do we want a little counter? Sure, absolutely, a little bit, but not that much. The lead change, and we'll see it down below, is too much. But that is my thought. Pop up too much, dump the hip in. Physically, you have to, where our bodies work, in order to dump the hip in with our foot underneath us and not rolled up. It's going to cause counter. And because of all the counter, you're certainly not going to push the hands forward because you'd be pointing your hands to the woods when we're trying to turn, the other way. So let's go look at the side here. And there's another, good example. Obviously this ski here didn't draw up very well. Obviously this ski, you can see the edge angle there relative to this one. Inside one is fairly flat. You can obviously see the difference in where how the boots are angled, which is the same idea. Got to roll up that inside one. Inside one is completely flat now. It's like a crutch under you. We need to get both feet out from underneath you, or at least the inside one rolled up and short. Long leg, short leg. Outside leg's got to be long, inside leg's short, which you do have. But, so first off, lead change, way too much there. All right, half a boot length at the most, but it's all related, because when you dump in, you have the lead change, you tend to be too much countered. So, and then you hunch over because the feet aren't fully out from underneath you. So lead change, half a boot length at the max. That half a boot length will cause a little bit of counter. Because you're going to match the counter of your skis with your upper body, but you're over countering. Hands. Once it all comes together, we can move these forward and get elbows in front of the torso. But I know it would feel weird to push them forward now because you'd be pointing them at the woods when you're trying to turn the other way. Obviously, the lead change puts us really in the back seat. You've got nice ankle flexion here, not so much in the other one. I look for, really the upper body to mimic this angle, and you're a little bit too much because you're hunching over, you're jacking over, hunching over at the waist because the feet aren't fully out from underneath you. So you don't want to stand up tall, but in fact, if we can get our feet out from underneath us, we'd want our upper bodies to be fairly erect. You can obviously see there, I can see more of the base of your outside ski, so we know the inside one is flatter. Right. So I know we just threw a lot at you. And they're all really interrelated. So what do we do? Well, first off, a lot of drills. You need to ski a lot on one ski. You cannot, skiing on one ski, dump the hip in, counter, do a lot of skiing of lifting the inside ski off the ground throughout the entire turn. And I don't mean like just take one run doing that. I'm talking about days. This is going to be a habit that is going to be difficult to break. But if you want to take it to the next level, trust me. So what we have to do is learn how to use our ankles and then knees to edge the skis, pulling the inside foot back, getting that inside one to have a nice high edge angle matching the outside one. Once you do that, then you can move the hip into inside the turn without having that excessive counter, and then we can actually move the hands forward, and then we would be off to the races. Try it out. It'll take a while, but